this is a very, very significant event, and it's of grave concern. And certainly, from my own perspective, having dealt with these for a long time, I'm frightened. This is a very, very big thing, and the efforts that are going to be required to do anything about it, especially if it continues on, are just mind-boggling.
It could last for years, plural, okay? If everything fails and all these different kinds of relief wells don't work, it could be spewing stuff into the Gulf until we have dead zones, the entire dead zones in the Gulf, for years, for years.
The thing is that our bodies only have so many ways to say we're getting sick, and the symptoms for chemical-induced illnesses mimic colds and flu. So we had the Valdez crud in 1989, we had the Katrina crud, we had the 9/11 crud. Really the problem here is that we're talking about toxic exposure. If it's a cold and flu, you get over it when you go home. If it's not, I get people like now saying, I thought I had the Valdez crud in 1989. I didn't think I would have it for 14 years, 16 years, 21 years, dead.
I'm sure they were genuinely ill, but whether it was anything to do with dispersants and oil, whether it was food poisoning or some other reason for them being ill, food poisoning is clearly a big issue when you've got concentration of this number of people in temporary camps, temporary accommodation. It's something we have to be very, very mindful of.
Late one night at the end of April, Kendra Arneson's husband David was out shrimping on his boat, 7 other shrimping boats around him.
I received several phone calls from him. This one's hanging over the boat throwing up. This one says he's dizzy and he's feeling faint. That's abnormal for our guys. This is a bunch of tough, hardcore fishermen.
How did he say he was feeling?
Nauseous and a really bad headache.
Men sick on 8 boats. She says, not a coincidence.
He told you he could smell the oil?
It was really strong. He said that it was so strong that they could almost taste it.
But BP and EPA have been monitoring this air, and they say it's safe. Don't worry.
If the air's just fine, all of a sudden everybody's sick, come on.
You don't believe it?
I don't believe him.
She says until this day, her husband was completely healthy, but he's been sick ever since.
It's a nasty cough. I literally woke him up over and over again.
And have you ever seen him like that?
Never.
Short of breath?
Never.
He doesn't have asthma or anything like that?
Nothing. No breathing problems. Ever. Nothing.
BP's top executive has suggested spoiled food could have made the fishermen ill, but a public health official contacted by CNN considered that highly unlikely in light of their symptoms.
Now, Kendra, I got to tell you, you're talking about this. You're the only one I found who is. People are mighty quiet around here.
They're terrified.
Why are they terrified?
It's BP. You're messing with the king.
I see tarball that kills me.
It isn't easy to make Randy Ivy cry. This did it.
I grew up here. I love this. My grandkids are not going to enjoy what I enjoyed. I love to fish. My whole family does.
The white sands of Pensacola Beach are now stained brown in many areas and dotted with pancake-sized blobs of oil. All morning, tourists and locals walk the beach picking it up.
My hands are sticky now from collecting all the oil.
No one found more than 11-year-old Henry Fairley.
I'm trying to get it off the coast so it's safer to walk and stuff.
Henry's dad was proud of his son, but wondered, where are the real cleanup crews?
This is the 5th month in a row that we've seen job gains. And while we recognize that our recovery is still in its early stages and that there are going to be ups and downs in the months ahead, things never go completely in a smooth line. This report is a sign that our economy is getting stronger by the day.
You're temporarily on, then you're laid off, you're rehired, and each time I understand it, it counts as a new job.
Yes, it does.
Explain that.
Well, it's my opinion and the opinion of really many others who are politically active and politically savvy and involved, that we have an administration that's attacking job numbers from both ends of the spectrum. In other words, I've been hired a total of 5 times.
Activists on board the Gaza-bound aid ship Rachel Corrie say Israeli troops have seized the vessel. It's not clear yet if there was any violence.
Bir tarafında insanlığın ortak vicdanı harekete geçmiştir. Ne mutlu ki bütün bu yaşanan olumsuzluklara rağmen ne mutlu ki insanlığın.
A new report has claimed the sinking of a South Korean naval ship in March was caused by a torpedo fired by North Korea. Investigation by a team of experts from all around the world said the missile caused a massive underwater explosion that split the ship apart, resulting in the death of 46 sailors. Now, North Korea has denied any involvement in the sinking.
Hungary also added to the turmoil after a government spokesman described the country's economy as being in a grave situation. That sends shudders through the markets that the European debt crisis could intensify.
If it was just Hungary, it wouldn't be a big deal for the U.S. market, but because it's on the heels of Greece, it's on the heels of concerns about Portugal and Spain and overall credit contagion risk coming out of Europe, it's just another log on a negative fire.
The Dow Industrials dropped 324 points, the second worst slide of the year, and closed below 10,000 for the second time in 2 weeks.
Here's the daisy chain. Greece to Portugal to Italy. Germany is kind of Europe's bank. Germany, a lot of this stops at Germany, but we're going to be in some trouble here for a while. The danger is it hurts the U.S. economy. As someone said on television this afternoon as part of the cable coverage, the dirty little secret is the world has no money and the emperor has no clothes. If I wasn't a tad too close to this, I'd probably not leave the house.
Every time you go to the airport, you can't miss this guy, the blue horse with the beet red eyes staring at you as you drive up to the main terminal. Well, now he's getting a friend. Check this out. It's Anubis, also known in Egypt as the god of death. And now it's hanging out at the airport. Fox 31's Kim Posey joins us live tonight from DIA. Kim, we'll start with the obvious. What were they thinking putting the god of death at the airport?
Well, Ron, the statue is here paving the way for the King Tut exhibit that's going to be coming at the end of the month. The statue was erected right here on the south side of the terminal earlier today, and a lot of people are really excited about it. But some find it a little bit odd that the Egyptian god of the dead would be looking in on an airport where some people are afraid to be anyway.
It's not the pyramids, it's DIA.
That's an interesting image to have here at the airport.
A statue of Anubis, the ancient Egyptian god of the dead, is going up here ahead of the King Tut exhibit.
I wanted a picture of that.
Art enthusiasts are really excited.
He's here to pave the way for King Tutankhamun's treasures to come to the Denver Art Museum.
But some travelers aren't sure if they feel more or less secure at security with Anubis looking in.
If it's the god of death, I wouldn't exactly be putting it in front of the airport.
For some,
I don't like flying to begin with.
It's just not very reassuring.
It's kind of weird, especially being at an airport, you know, the bad voodoo.
DIA already has the sculpture of the big blue Mustang with the glowing red eyes.
It scared me. I was kind of scared.
The statue fell on its creator and killed him, and some affectionately call him Blucifer.
What do we call it? A demon?
Now this latest edition of artwork could challenge the horse's notoriety.
Definitely an odd choice.
He may be the god of the dead, but this jackal-headed statue doesn't have glowing red eyes, and lots of travelers were actually really excited to see him.
Whether it was anything to do with dispersants in oil, whether it was food poisoning or some other reason for them being ill, there's a food poisoning is clearly a big issue when you've got to, concentrate.